Do you guys like bees?
No.
Why not?
They're scary. And they pop at you and I get swelled up and I'm allergic to bees. So
You don't like them?
My name is Kylie Krager, and I embarked on a journey to learn everything there is to know about bees. Due to the common misconception of their motives, I created a documentary that shows how peaceful and remarkable these creatures truly are.
bees help you get honey.
As I traveled around San Diego, I was lucky enough to spend some time at a bee farm, in which I met a very helpful beekeeper. She educated the public on bees and how important they are to the human race. Bees are especially important due to their role in pollination. However, many go without knowing the reason why.
Bees love the pollen in them.
Yeah, why do they like the pollen?
So, well, I don't really know that part.
The reason that they make honey is it's their food. That's why there's honey. So honey is their food and pollen is also their food. And they mix the two of them together. So honey is a carbohydrate for them. It's like bread or pasta. And pollen is a protein. So you guys know about pollination, right? They're going to the flower to collect nectar and pollen. And nectar is what they make honey from. So honey is just dehydrated nectar. So they just take the nectar and they take the water out of it so that it becomes really gooey like honey, right? But when they first collect it, it's like 80% water. It's really watery. And then they carry it back to the hive inside of themselves. So they have two stomachs, one for eating and one for storing things. So that second stomach, they fill up with honey, they carry it back to the hive, and that's how they make the honey from it. When they go to the flowers, they're very fuzzy. So they get pollen all over themselves. And it sticks to them. And so when they fly to a different flower, they end up transferring pollen from one flower to another. And what that does is it activates the plant to make seeds. So basically it allows the plant to reproduce, to make more plants, right? And a lot of times the plants are, the seeds come in the form of a fruit or a vegetable. So like when you're eating, a cucumber, there's seeds in it. When you're eating a watermelon, there's seeds in it. So when you're eating, 1 in every 3 bites of food that you eat was pollinated by a bee.
As seen in the beginning of the film, I had 2 young children help me on my journey. I asked them questions on what they think bees do, and why it is important for us to keep them around.
Well, the yellow stuff inside of them, those are the pollen. And the bees, when they land on them, they gather them up and they get their pollen. And that's how they make honey.
If you eat honey and it's local and it's raw, which means that it hasn't been heated up, it's actually really great for allergies. So if you can find local honey, it's got pollen mixed into it. So pollen is kind of like the glitter of nature. It's everywhere. It's like all over everything. So it's in the honey, even if they're not deliberately putting it in there. And so when you eat it, you're getting some of the local pollen in your body. It helps you adjust to any of the pollen that you might breathe in. So if you get really bad allergies, pollen is eating honey really, really helps. As long as it has to be local and it has to be raw. When you're looking to buy honey, you want to look for honey that's raw and honey that's local. The organic doesn't really matter because bees fly up to 3 miles to find flowers, and so to have organic honey, like no one has it because you would have to have 3 miles of organic land around your hives, which is just not possible really.
The purpose of the documentary was to educate the public more about the bees. The fact is, the bees are dying. Over the past decade, the bee populations have declined drastically by 25%.
Guys, what if all the bees die?
Then our world would be the trees would start dying more. And then if we have no more trees, then we can't breathe
Exactly.
and write.
Although we can somewhat picture what our world would look like without bees, the question still remains on why they are dying.
Right? So do you guys know what's been happening in California the last 5 years? Drought, right? So we're not getting rain, and what does that mean for flowers? They're dying. We don't have any. They're not even growing. So for me, the last 5 years I've had almost no honey, and the bees have been really struggling. So if you want to know what's killing the bees, it's a pesticide called neonicotinoids. It lives inside the plant system, so it's in the pollen. So when the bees take the pollen back to their hive, they eat a little bit of it at a time, and they get slowly poisoned from this poison pollen. And what the poison does is it weakens their immune system so that they can get sick easier. I think the biggest misconception is that people think the bees, just because they can sting, that they will sting. The bees are not just flying around trying to sting people.